Welcome back to another episode of TVGP's Critical Misses. This season we're watching all of the musicals that mostly I have missed over the years.
No. Only you have missed. There's one on this season that I haven't seen. Come on.
Yeah, well, apparently if they're not black and white, then I haven't seen it. But yes, we are watching, this time we're watching probably the most famous musical, like this and Phantom the Opera kind of seem like they sit at the top of the pile here.
I literally got told off recently for referring to one of the ones from this season as the best musical ever made by my musical wife.
There's a lot of pearl clutching, like, you dare?
Yes. I quickly reiterated and changed that to be my favorite musical ever made.
Right.
Because... And I get to take my wife to school here, which is great, because The Phantom of the Opera is widely regarded as the best musical ever made because it's the most successful.
Okay.
I did some looking into that. Not anymore, it's not. Lion King took that throne.
Oh, nice. Right. I always forget about Lion King for some reason.
Is now the most profitable musical ever. Talking about like Broadway and everything else.
Yeah.
This is like number 6 on that list, by the way.
Okay. Well, number 6 is Les Miserables. We are watching the... if you look, there's about 400 versions of this across literally every language. We were watching the 2012 Hugh Jackman, Russell Crowe, Anne Hathaway version.
Yes, not the 2018 version, not the 2019 version, not the 1998 version with Liam Neeson.
Or like the 1943. I think the interesting thing is we're watching... let's say like a film version as opposed to a stage performance,
yes.
Which I think probably would have been, if this movie wasn't out, that probably would have been a larger discussion for us on the show, which is like, okay, well, clearly this is like the version to watch if you've never seen it before from what I've been hearing. But do we watch this stage version? Like, do they have a Broadway version? Like, is there a really great one in another language? Like, I think that would be...
versions of this are probably incredible.
Yeah,
but
I bet.
I don't speak French, and I don't sing in French. So, English version it is.
Yeah. So, I feel like as famous as this movie is... I don't have as much osmosis, oddly, as something like Mamma Mia, which I feel like should be the opposite. I know main character is Jean Valjean. I know he steals a loaf of bread, and I know everybody sings a lot of their feelings about it. And I know it's like 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Okay,
and I have heard Russell Crowe might not be good in this.
Interesting. Okay, so potentially Russell Crowe might not be the best singer.
Okay.
That's fine. Whatever. So is that literally all you know about this movie?
Yeah, because like I feel like it growing up, I feel like almost all of like my aunts and uncles, all of them loved it because I think it sort of hit them at the right age. And one of my aunts, one of my relatives, my aunt and uncle that lived in Tennessee, they had a poster, like the famous poster of Les Mis with the
famous poster with the girl with the hair streaming off.
Yeah, and like the French flag in the background on fire. Like there's that poster. Like, okay,
because that is the theater production poster.
Yeah,
specifically with the French
so it's that
flag.
one from like when I was there in like the early 90s. So like they had the OG stuff. It's very much like for us, I feel like that poster for some people is like our equivalent of, every college room had that black and white photo of those two girls kissing. I feel like this is very much like...
What?
That's an American thing. You Brits had a very different, like, here is the poster that is in literally every, like, college-age kid's room.
I'm trying to think of what the equivalent for that would be, because most college experience, well, you're talking about university, not college, number one.
Yes.
Because college in England is usually latter high school, so you still stay at home. I'm trying to think of what the equivalent would be, and the only thing that comes to mind for me would be Lita from WWE, because that was my age range.
Sure, yeah.
Like WWE was huge when I was just leaving high school and
Right.
heading into college.
So I feel like I've seen that like theater run poster forever, because it's always like, oh, Les Mis, like, oh, look, it's this thing. So I feel like that's the most exposure I've gotten to it. But it was always like, well, it's a stage play, and it's sort of, it's French, so it's really long, and when you're growing up, you're like, in your tens and your teens, and you're like, oh,
And
cool,
just
a 4 hour,
stage plays.
yeah, like a 4 hour French stage play. Sign me up. Like that's not super gonna happen.
Which, by the way, just random suggestion here. Cinemas should bring back intermissions.
Uh-huh. That'd be great.
Too many movies are 4 hours long now.
Yeah.
So please give me an intermission if it's more than 2 hour long. Thank you.
Yeah. I don't
so I
even
can go to the bathroom.
I don't even drink pop at the theater, but I'd like to stretch my legs a little bit. Try going to the bathroom for a little bit. Yeah.
Yes. So
yes.
we know that much.
Okay.
You have a poor recognition of this based off your judgmental nature when you were a child.
Yes.
That's fine.
Yep.
I know why this isn't as pop culture immersed for you. It's because this is a theater kids world.
Yeah.
Mamma Mia is a pop culture icon. Like it or not, Mamma Mia is let's do all this ABBA stuff. Let's do her as a musical. Like, that's Mamma Mia. It does it. It does the pop culture thing proud.
Right.
Les Mis, Phantom of the Opera, like a lot of these musicals are theater kids' dreams.
And I always hung out with the band kids in high school, so like we had a separate sort of weirdness, but never yeah, we were watching like trauma movies as opposed to French musicals. Yeah.
Okay, so do we know the cast? Mentioned one, Russell Crowe, we know.
Right. I'm excited to see Hugh Jackman in it. I don't think I've seen anything in him where I'm like, oh, Hugh Jackman was bad. It's always like, there it is, Hugh Jackman again, just killing it.
Yes, the traditionally theater trained actor who went on to play Wolverine.
Yeah, right. When I was talking to my wife about this movie, she's like, which one are you watching? I was like, oh, it's the one with Wolverine. What's his name again? She's like, Hugh Jackman. I was like, yes, okay. I gotta be better about remembering Hugh Jackman's name, one of the most famous actors in the world.
Yes, also one of the most talented. That's who when my wife and I took a trip to New York City this year. Was it this year? Was it last year? I can't remember. I think it was last year. No, it was this year. Wait, I don't know. Whatever. When we went to New York City, it was specifically to see Hugh Jackman at MSG in New York City do theater performances.
Nice.
So he did Gaston because he played Gaston in Australia, and then like an Australian version of Beauty and the Beast.
God, that was good.
He's done so much stuff, and he did a lot of theater songs in there, and it's absolutely fantastic.
I know Anne Hathaway is in this, and I'm excited because I feel like I like Anne Hathaway much more than a lot of other people do, and I think seeing her in Ocean's 8, months and months ago, yeah, she is so great in that. It's like, yeah, all right, yeah, Anne Hathaway is still good. Like, this is...
And she was also Catwoman. Oh, wait, you haven't seen that movie, mate, have you?
Future season. Yeah. It's just so... I'm so weird. But other than that, I feel like this will be another one of those movies where it's like, all right, this song has finished. We're switching to a new location. Oh my God, look who's in this movie. And it'll be like, all right, that's great. We're going to go over somewhere here in England. Oh my God, how are they in this movie?
Yeah. I cannot wait till you see some of the extended cast. There's some real shocking names in there, and I was shocked with the fact that a lot of these people can sing really, really well. There's two in particular who I think do okay. I'm not the biggest fan of them, but that's kind of their characters.
Sure.
One person who shows up, I've he has been my weird celebrity crush now for years. He was actually recently on my Twitter timeline, if you want to go
Okay.
figure out who that is. And I was shocked to learn that he could sing the first time I saw this movie.
Yeah.
So
So by
that's
minor
fun.
characters, are you talking about someone who shows up for like maybe a scene or two to kind of
No,
like?
no, no.
Oh, okay.
They are major characters, but they don't
Mm.
show up until like an hour and 50 minutes into the movie, into the 2 hour
Okay.
45 movie.
Yeah, it's that's really exciting. I feel like that's been the theme for so many of these seasons we've done on the show. Is sort of like, oh, this movie is, well, who did they get? Wait
Wait,
a
is that
minute.
Halle Berry in John Wick 3?
Right, it's just like, what the what? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Does
So
Helen Mirren show up? That'll be just be the thread that ties these seasons together.
every single season tied
Yeah.
together with a Helen Mirren appearance. So really quick, the thing that's different about this movie, there's a lot of different to do with it. So they didn't play the music on set.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
The way this movie was filmed was they give the actors an earpiece. The actors obviously learned all the songs and stuff like that. But then the actors were told to sing at your own pace. Sing at the rhythm and beat and tempo that you want to sing.
Interesting.
And all in their earpiece, they just had a pianist playing the piano to keep them in key. And
So it's less of like, let's recreate the stage play on film, and more of, let's try and not reinterpret it, but just kind of like put a little bit of a spin on it.
yeah, so there's like a couple of lines, like a couple of songs in this where if you listen to it, there'll be a bigger delay between lines than there is in the stage version.
Gotcha.
Because
Interesting.
the way they did it was the earpiece, the actor sung, then the pianist played the piano to the actors singing, not vice versa.
Wow.
So
Okay.
the pianist kept them in rhythm, kept them in key, but played at their pace. So
Interesting.
if a note goes on a bit longer than it normally does, or this line is like maybe 2 beats later than it normally is, it's because of the way they filmed it. And then they added the operatic score after the fact in post-production.
Gotcha. To match what the performers had already done.
Exactly.
Interesting.
All sung on set, very little ADR, very little additional stuff from the actors after the fact. It was all pretty much done right then, right there in the moment.
That's
Now,
cool.
you mentioned Anne Hathaway. Are you aware of how big of a deal the role she plays in this movie is?
I feel like I have heard, like, through the grapevine that, Anne Hathaway sings that song. And I'm always sort of like, yeah, but which one? And they're like, the Les Mis song. It's like, okay.
Yeah,
But-
you know it when you hear it. You immediately
Right.
know it when you hear it. The reason why, so my wife actually told me this, so this knowledge is brought to you by my wife who adores
Right.
musicals. The reason why her role is such a huge role is because, especially when this was written, especially when theatre became a huge thing, you never, ever, 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 ever got a solo performance by a woman in song. It was always like, if the women were singing, it was part of a duet with a guy. There was never a female focused
Right.
song.
Or they were part of a
Just some
chorus.
Yeah.
Right.
And Fontaine, who Anne Hathaway plays, was one of the first real roles that came out like that. That's why it's known, is because all of the theatre kids know it, and all people who adore musicals know it, because it was one of the first musicals that brought a female voice and like, this is your song.
Right.
Screw the guys, this is just for you.
Interesting. Boy.
So that song is a big deal.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear how, even before I see it, how groundbreaking this really appears to be. Even not only from the original stage play perspective, but also from, I think, what you're talking about with the earpiece and the pianist. I think that's a really interesting way of creating a musical without sort of being so beholden to the original. Because you don't want to stray too far away from it, but you kind of don't want to just put the play on screen, because then it's like, well, why don't I just watch the stage play that someone filmed? Like,
Yeah. Which we are going to be doing later this season.
right, the next one, I think. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, any last thoughts here before we go spend almost 3 hours watching this movie?
Nope.
Okay. All right.
Buckle up.
All
Buckle
right.
up is all I'll say.
Let's go watch it.
Yep.
All right, we're back. We've gone and we've watched the movie, the film, the two
Musical.
hour and 45-minute runtime of Les Mis. First off, let's just say more like Les Miserable. Am I right? No, actually, it's really
I hate
good.
you so much.
I know. I liked this movie so much. I didn't write any notes for the entirety of the runtime.
And you want to tell the people at home what else you did regarding this movie?
I also watched the stage production, the 25th anniversary stage production of this. There's one specific reason,
Okay.
which we'll get to about one specific song. I was like, well, they had to have changed it for the film because of the specific person that sings it. I wonder what the
Okay.
stage version was like. Whoops, I watched that whole thing.
Yeah, okay. Whoops, with quotation marks.
Right. Well, I think the thing that was surprising to me about Les Mis is
Dem
how
production values, as I texted you.
well, yeah, like dem production values, but also like how fast it moves.
Oh,
Even though it's
yes.
almost 3 hours, it's like, all right, 10 years later, let's go. More singing, and part of it for me is I know it's a lack of experience with musicals in general, but I was really surprised that this one features almost no speaking parts, and it's
Yep.
all singing back to back.
Which is called singing through characters. Just so you know, if they don't
Interesting.
speak lines and they sing lines, it's called a sung through character, where they sing
Interesting.
throughout.
That's good to know. Look at all this good stuff we're learning. Yeah.
I didn't know that until watching this movie and doing my research.
Right. Yeah, I think my main takeaway from Les Mis, I don't want to, we'll dive into it, but watching it, even this version, you sort of immediately see why this is so beloved and like it's such a classic. Because even from the beginning, like from that very first song, you're just like, oh, this is a thing. Like this is different.
Yeah, let's start with that, shall we? Because we talked about the Hairspray starting with a banger,
Yep.
and oh boy, is Look Down a banger of bangers.
Boy, I just like, especially in like that shot where they're dredging up that ship, and there's like it looks like there's 200 prisoners there, all up and down this area, like pulling the ship, and all of them are singing. I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, like you, boy, you sure got some money for this play, huh? Not knowing how famous it is, but yeah, man, that's just a great, hell of a
such
great,
a good song, and
it's
it
mostly
comes back.
good.
Yes, I look. Are you talking about the only part of it being bad, the Russell Crowe section, by any chance?
Yeah, and like, all right, let's talk about the elephant in the room here.
Russell Crowe being a singer.
Right.
I will give him his due.
Yes.
He is better than I remember.
Yes.
But the problem is he's alongside Hugh Jackman.
Right. Like often face to face, like here's a classically trained actual singer, and here's this dude. And like, I know a lot of people have a lot of feelings about Russell Crowe being in this movie, especially being Javert, but like, I sort of don't fault him because he's an actor and he got a job. Like that's his job. Is just like, well, here's a movie. You need me to be in the movie. All right. And he shouldn't have been put in that position in the first place because that's such an important character for the story that you need someone in there that just kills it as much as Jean Valjean kills it.
Yeah. I would say I do think he is the weak link of this movie.
100%. Yeah.
I still think he is good. He's not great.
He's fine. Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah.
And In any other movie, it would be fine. But like I said, he's against Hugh Jackman, Anne Hathaway, and
Yep.
all of these other people who are ridiculously talented singers.
Yeah. I mean, Anne Hathaway just that's probably my most unexpected performance this movie. It's like, yeah, I know she can sing and she's a great actor and like she'll be great
I
in
did
this.
not know she could sing until I saw her in this movie.
Yeah, I feel like she really knocked it out of the park. Like I just
Mhm.
that's one of those things where I'm watching it and she's singing and it's like, boy, she is really good. Like you were really doing it. Wasn't expecting her to die in like the first 45 minutes.
Yes,
But
the famous role, which that is what that character is known for, is for
yeah,
dying real early in the play. So obviously, I've got a list of songs here. I've highlighted the ones that
I
I
do
think
too.
are the best.
Yep.
I'm assuming no real takeaway for the Bishop and John Valjean's soliloquy.
Yeah.
However, at the end of the day, is a hell of a good song too.
At the end of that, so like one of the things I really like about uh Les Mis is I love the chorus stuff. I'm such a sucker for like here's 50 people singing one song and it's like yeah,
Mhm.
my brain is
And
just like yeah,
especially
let's
it does the thing that I love in musicals where it peppers throughout because that
yes.
tune from Look Down comes back like 9 times throughout the
Oh,
course of this
that's some
movie,
good stuff. Just
and
right in my veins.
then at the end of the day does the same thing too, where
Yep.
like right towards the end of the movie, like they do the whole medley thing, and it's got every song kind of comes back in bit by bit, but
Yep.
Look Down and at the end of the day kind of pepper throughout the
Yep.
entirety of the movie, and I
And
love it when they do that.
part of what I like about at the end of the day is the vocals on the women are almost shrill. Like
Hmm.
they're almost a little bit too much. It rides that line, and I there's something about that I really like.
Hmm.
I don't know what it
Yeah.
is, but yeah, that's a great one.
But yeah, at the end of the day, it's a hell of a song. And then the next song I've got written down is, of course, I Dreamed a Dream.
Like
That song. The famous Les Mis
the
song.
song, yeah. Like I I think we talked about it in the intro. It's been a little bit, but there was always the Les Mis song, and it's like, all right, I mean, it's probably good or like it's something. It's like, boy, not only is that a really great song, but boy, she kills it in that song.
Mhm.
Like, man, just like there's that break near the end of the song where the orchestra swells for a minute as she sort of changes topics, and like her heaving sobs during that part is just like, oh god, you're
Yes.
killing me, Anne Hathaway.
Something that I wanted to talk about with you because you said like the thing you love in musicals is when people have so much emotion but they cannot help but let it out and it has to come out
Yep,
via song.
yep,
And honestly, we talked about it in the intro, like the way they filmed this, where it was just like the actors on set singing and then a pianist in the ear. Like there is nothing but emotion in so many of these songs. Like it's just
yeah,
hardcore feelings the whole way down.
yep,
And it's just like I think she nails it. I think Hugh Jackman nails it. I actually think Hugh Jackman's singing suffers a little bit in some of his songs because
yeah,
he's put so much emotion into it.
yeah.
But at the same time, that makes the song more powerful. So it's like,
Right. Yeah,
it's a
it
catch
feels it feels a
22.
little bit more natural. In doing some research for this episode, I there's a lot of feelings around Les Mis in general. It seems like that's one of those things where you can kind of never do it right for anybody.
Mhm.
And I was surprised at how much pushback there was for the actors singing on set live.
Yes.
I was surprised about like, oh, they're damaging their voice. This isn't really like a regular performance. This is sort of not the way you want to do it. Largely, seemingly focused around um, how much weight Hugh Jackman lost, and it's like, well, yeah, I mean that's what that
I
dude
don't.
does. Like,
Have you met Hugh Jackman? That's kind of his
right,
shtick.
right. Like like it that you can't criticize Christian Bale for doing that either. Like that's just what that dude does. Like,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, it's weird, but yeah, I Dream to Dream is really good.
I'm not gonna lie. This musical, like, it brings me close to tears.
Yep.
Twice throughout the whole thing. One of them is I Dreamed a Dream, and we'll get to the other one later.
Okay. Yeah, I dreamed a dream. If I'm in the right mood, I'm just like, and
Mhm.
by summer he was gone. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, out of curiosity, what point was it during the text that you sent me where you were like, tear emoji, French flag, tear emoji, French
The
flag?
very last song.
Okay.
We'll talk about that here later, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so then we get the first time skip of the movie.
Yes.
Obviously, by the way, we're not going to go too much into plot into this because there's a lot of plot that this thing covers.
And also it's Les Mis, so you've
So
probably seen it. We're the last
probably
two
know it
people on the
already.
planet.
Yeah, I've already seen this before. It's you
That's
who's the
right.
last person on the planet.
Right.
Um, then yeah, the time skip, and we meet the daughter, who
Yes.
I've already forgotten the name of,
The whose daughter,
Cosette.
sir? Cosette, yeah.
Cosette.
Yeah.
Um, and we get introduced to the Master of the House song because, oh hey, it's Helen Bonham Carter again, and it's Sacha Baron Cohen.
That I Helena Bonham Carter appearing in a British musical is not super surprising. She sort of pops up wherever she pleases. I think she just shows up on set and be like, "Hey, I'm going to sing this song." It's like, "Oh, you can't say no to her." All right.
Hmm.
Sacha Baron Cohen showing up, that was a pretty big surprise. This is one of my favorite
And
scenes in the
for
movie.
those, for the
Go ahead.
people who don't know, by the way, Sacha Baron Cohen is the actor, the real life name of the person who plays Barat.
Yeah,
To
and
give
Ali
you an
G.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. This is one of my favorite scenes in the movie, and one of my favorite songs. Um, Largely because I think the whether you love or hate those two characters, you're sort of love to hate them. I really like the direction in the movie that they took where they're doing like sleight of hand pickpocketing and like trading hats and glasses, and they're doing all of that stuff during the song. I feel
Hmm.
like that played really
It,
well in the movie.
oh yeah, puts across that they are 100% scumbags.
Yeah, just like the worst people.
Instantaneously, it
Yeah,
puts it across. And you get introduced to their daughter, who's like the spoiled kid, and
right,
like, I'm not a fan of that song because to me it's
right,
not a song because they speak it,
right.
but that's kind of their whole thing is
Yeah,
they're not as good as everybody else. They are the low down kind of scum. Like
right.
that's their role.
This was the song that drove me to check out the 25th anniversary performance, because I was like, well, surely this sort of like cake style talking singing that they're doing,
Hmm.
I'm sure that's maybe they changed it significantly for Sacha Baron Cohen because he's not like a traditional trained singer. You probably got him to do some of the wink and nod kind of sleazy stuff. Um,
Yeah.
so I watched the 25th anniversary one, and that's just the song. So, like, although the guy they have playing and I can never remember nor pronounce their name, but the guy they have playing as the innkeeper guy is the Matt something. He's the guy that's on.
Matt Lucas.
Yeah, Matt Lucas. He's the guy that's the famous comedian. He's on Great British Baking Show right now. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, all right, he
If
could
you
sing.
if you were in England in the 90s to early 2000s, you will remember him as George Dawes from Shooting Stars.
Okay.
Also, Little Britain. He was in that too.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
They've got a hell of a cast for that 25th anniversary edition.
Yeah, including the lady who plays Eponine in the movie is started here in the 25th anniversary one. Also kills it on stage.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
And Nick Jonas. Because why not?
Yeah. Throw him in there. Why not? Yeah. Yeah, Master of I also like Castle on a Cloud, the kind of intro song to that where it's just Cosette by herself. It's like a real short piece. I thought that was
Yeah,
pretty
well,
good.
she's doing the imaginary world kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
again, kid performance. Guess what? Nailed it. Out the
Yeah.
park.
Yeah.
Good job, little kid. You can sing.
This kid's like 10 and she's killing it. Yeah.
Yep. And isn't that again when we get our second and final time jump of the movie?
Yeah, because the middle part I remember not being super long. It's mostly like,
It's mostly Jean
hey, he's
Valjean
the
heading to
mayor.
go and
Yeah,
yeah.
like Jean Valjean's the mayor now. He makes this deal with um what is her name? That's Anne Hathaway's character. That
Fontaine.
Fontaine. Thank you. Jeez. Makes a deal with Fontaine. Javert is like, I was also born in a jail, and then
Mhm.
time skip.
Yes, because that's also the bit where, like, because it jumps kind of from that and him escaping to him collecting Cosette,
Yep.
basically buying Cosette,
Yeah.
and then that's when the time skip happens and we get old Cosette. I do love the fact that Look Down comes back when he's helping that dude
Under the cart.
under the wagon.
Yep.
And like that's one of the moments when Look Down comes back in as Javert is looking over Valjean
Right.
while he's doing the exact thing he did at the
Yeah.
beginning. He's
That's
like,
such
dude,
a
you're
good
like
scene.
60? How are you so strong? And he's like,
Yeah, when
so
I
fast.
started doing the math at the end of the movie when he's like passing away, I'm like, he doesn't look. No, he's really old, actually.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yup. But yes, time skip. And we head to Paris, I believe.
Yeah.
Or
Yep.
close to Paris. For the Second French Revolution, which is still technically part of the First French Revolution, because oh
Right.
boy, did they have some issues with that time period.
Yeah.
And yeah, we get the introduction of the little kid who I can't remember the name of already. That name has gone.
Gavroche
Yes, Gavroche. Thank you. Like,
steals this third part of the movie.
100%.
Yep.
Like him introducing us to the thing, and that's when we get at the end of the day coming back again, don't we?
Yep.
With the nobles and everything, and Gavroche singing everything.
Yeah, it's like a look
So
down
good.
at the end of the day kind of mashup.
Yes, it's so good.
It's really good.
Like fantastic. And oh, would you look at that? It's Eddie Raymond. Or Eddie Redmayne, I should say.
He's so good. He's so good in everything.
Yeah. This is my Hollywood crush. Like I have two Hollywood crushes when it comes to guys.
Sure.
One is the obvious one. We all know who I'm talking about here. It's not Hugh Jackman.
No, it's Idris Elba.
No, come on, dude. It's not Idris Elba.
Well, I don't know then.
The guy I always forget the name of. You are a super fan of his. I am a super fan of his. He is great in everything.
Oh, Timothy Oliphant.
Thank you.
Yeah,
There
we're
we
all
go.
fans. Yes.
Yes.
Sadly, not in this movie. He would have been great. Have
Unfortunately
him
not.
as Javert. Well, he can sing. He can do anything.
Yes. Dude, I want Timothy Oliphant in a Fast and Furious movie. I'm just saying.
God, please.
But yes, Eddie Redmayne is my second Hollywood crush.
He's great.
And I don't know why.
When he showed up, I was sort of like, oh yeah, I haven't seen the Fantastic Beasts movies.
I've seen the first one. He's okay in there.
Okay.
But it's also a questionable movie, to be honest.
Well, yeah. I don't know if I've seen him in anything before. If I have, I don't think he's been like the star. But he does great in this. He's really good.
Yeah, you haven't seen Jupiter Ascending, where he plays?
I have not.
Dude, if you want, my wife adores that movie. It is her Starship Troopers. It is a bad movie, but it is a decently bad movie.
Okay.
He does play Stephen Hawking in The Theory of Everything. He is in our biopics category, so should we choose to get to that point, we will be able to find him there.
Right.
But yeah, Eddie Redmayne, again, someone who, this is the person who I think I mentioned it in part one, who I was like, dude, what are you doing here? You can't sing. Oh, wait. Yes, you can.
Wait a minute. Now he's singing.
Uh-huh. And he's real good. Which brings us to the Red and Black song, which I think is a really good song too.
I wrote that down as one of my favorites. That one is just like, yeah, man, I'm ready to do stuff. Like, let's go do it.
Yeah, I love the fact that as well. It's a counterpoint. It's the red and black of the fighting guys getting ready for the revolution, and it's the red and black of love on the other side of it as well.
Yeah, I like that. I like that back and forth on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The next song that I have written down that I really liked is "On My Own," the Eponine solo, which is just
heartbreaking.
She's so good in this. Like, this lady is just another just killer song that is, like you said, 100% heartbreaking. But man, does she do a great job.
Yep, she's really, really good. Like, and the best thing is as well, that's obviously where we are reintroduced back again to Sacha Baron Cohen and Helen
Yep.
Bonham Carter are basically part of the criminal underground in Paris.
Right.
We get the Javert almost meeting Jean Valjean kind of
Yep.
scene. Oh jeez, yeah, but that's a great song. Then jump to Without Him / One Day More, I think is the next two songs,
I
which is all
believe so, yeah.
basically kind of one song. Which it's a fine song. I'm not a huge fan of the Romeo and Juliet separated kind of.
Yeah, that stuff is okay. I One Day More I think is good.
Yeah, it's a little cliche, is my only thing with it at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's also because I was forced to read Shakespeare.
We forgot to mention that Amanda Seyfried is
Yes.
Gazette, showing up in yet another movie in this season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Apparently, she's just going to be in everything. I think,
Yeah.
is she the first? Obviously, this season is the only one with multiple movies that are not related to each other. But is she the first, like, 2 in 1 season this year? Because we haven't had Hugh Jackman yet. We haven't had Anne Hathaway or anybody else. She is the first 2 for 1 for a season.
Yeah, must be. Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Good job, Amanda Seyfried.
Yeah, don't worry. Hugh's going to catch you real quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, then one of my favorite songs.
Mm.
Do You Hear the People Sing?
Oh my God! Don't even get me started. It's so good. The movie version is so good too because it starts out so quiet, and I'm just like, are they singing? Well, of course they're singing.
Mm-hmm.
What are they singing? And then it's just like a minute and a half later, I'm like, burn it down! Anarchy for France.
Mm-hmm. Which is kind of the song that gets us through the rest of the movie in this one, to be honest.
Yeah, it pops up like pretty often.
Because the plot from here is just let's have a revolution kind of thing. Yep. And that song is
Vive la France.
Yes, Vive la France.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then of course the Gavroche incident happens.
Yeah, which is...
Well, let's actually mention it. Do You Hear the People Sing comes back again as they basically take over one of the carriages at the funeral of the general guy.
Yep.
Like, that's a great scene.
That's a good scene too, yeah.
And then you get the barricade and the fight and Javert being Javert, whatever.
Just wearing a very jaunty cap.
Yeah, which Gavroche is the one who spots him and knows him, which is hilarious. And then, yeah, Gavroche gets the old... flintlock pistol to the heart situation.
Yeah, which is just...
What's the one rule in cinema, Boston? You don't kill kids.
That's right. Yeah, Les Mis is like, nope. I'm killing that kid.
Are you kidding me? We're a play. We do whatever we want.
Yeah, that kid's dying. Yeah.
Which kind of starts the revolution in earnest, despite all of the other people dead and everything. What's-his-face gets saved by Hugh Jackman. They end up getting married. Redmayne.
Yep.
And then empty chairs, empty tables.
Well, I wasn't expecting that one. Oh boy, that's a knife to the heart.
Yep. It's literally highlighted on my list of songs as, oh boy, that's a great song, because it's kind of the last real song of the play or
like
of the musical,
like a non medley piece.
Mm-hmm. Because like after it's heartbreaking. Again, thank you, Eddie Redmayne, for proving that yes, you can sing and making me eat my words.
Right.
But that's another song that starts with like so quiet, and then it just builds and builds and builds, and the emotion grows as well every time. But yeah, that's a hell of a song. And spoiler alert, we get the happy ending with he gets married to what's-a-face. Javert kills himself at some point along this whole process.
Just throws himself in the Seine. Like, I was just like, he's singing. I feel like that's probably the weakest of his performances in this film, is the like self-doubt of like, I've spent my entire life chasing after this bread thief, and like, what was it all for? Because he keeps showing me this courtesy, and he keeps showing me he keeps like letting me live, and he keeps saving me. Like, what the hell am I doing with my life? And then he like throws himself in the Seine. It's like, I just wish there was like a little bit more like punch to that, where you then toss yourself in this river.
Yeah, It's a
But
little bit of a down ending for him, I will
yeah,
say.
yeah,
But it's fine, whatever. Ending marriage,
yeah,
and Jean Valjean is dying.
yeah, right. Which is just it's it's really interesting because like in the film, Jean Valjean tells Eddie Redmayne that like I have to go. Tell Cosette whatever you want. Here's who I really am.
Mm-hmm.
Peace out. Like this is the
Yeah.
real story. I gotta go. And like as he's like loading his luggage on that carriage, he kind of has like a he falls or like has a problem with his heart or like his arms or something. And I'm what's the deal with him right now? And then it cuts to him being back in that church and just looking like garbage. And I'm like, oh yeah, he's actually really very old at this point.
Yeah. And I love this whole scene because Eddie, like Cosette and Marius find him
Yep,
just before he dies,
yep,
and it's got that whole wonderful closure thing for them. But then also you get Fantine shows back up again. So does the
yep,
bishop from earlier in the movie. It's like this great closing of the loop of like Jean Valjean's life. It's like
yeah,
this fantastic scene, really, really well done.
yeah. It's. I like how they handled like the ghost of Fantine sort of being like, look, you lived a good life, you did a lot of good stuff. Look, you saved this kid that married your daughter, and they'll be happy and they'll be taken care of. Like, I think you've
Hmm.
earned your time. You're good. Like, come hang out with
Yeah,
me.
it's a solid piece.
Yeah, yeah. And then we
Yeah,
get
that is.
the epilogue sort of ending thing. That's the part that always makes me cry, which is like everybody in French Revolution heaven singing the hear the people
Yes.
sing like just like every time that it grows and grows and grows, and I'm just like, oh god, oh they're all happy.
Yeah, they're all
Yeah,
dead and they're all on top of like the
right.
hugest barricade ever, which was kind of their whole mission was to produce these barricades.
Yep.
Solid, solid musical.
If you want to see something, the reason I sent you a text with crying faces and French flags was because at the end of the 25th anniversary performance, four different versions of the entire cast of Les Mis, like the current one, the 2010 one, the 1985 original one, they all come
Hmm.
out on stage and all sing that together. And I'm like, oh God.
Oh, jeez,
Oh,
that's
there's like 100 people on stage all singing at the same time. And I'm like, oh God. And then all four Jean Valjeans sing uh, that song where he's saying like, "Hey, make sure you keep uh, Marius safe."
hmm.
I never remember the name of that song, but yeah, boy, that's if you guys liked this movie and you haven't seen the 25th anniversary one, wow, go watch that. Holy
I
crap!
might have to point my wife in that direction because she
Yeah,
adores this movie a lot, and I don't think she's seen the stage version.
it's it's really the guy who plays Javert, so good, so good. Oh man. Anyway, yes, I after watching it, I I definitely understand why this is like one of the most famous plays and musicals of all time. It's like, yeah, this entire thing and every single song in this movie and in this play is incredible. Like there's
It
some I
doesn't feel
don't
like there's a weak link. Like
no, like there's some I don't like
also
as
Crowe being
much.
a middle link, maybe he's slightly rusted, but he's not a weak link.
Yeah. Um and like I it's funny, I feel like I had such a misunderstanding about if you listen back to the intro, my understanding of the movie was Jean Valjean, steals a loaf of bread and like the French Revolution. But I didn't realize the movie wasn't even about like it starts 20 years after he stole that loaf of bread. Like that's not even the point. Like the point
Hmm.
is, him coming back and the French Revolution. Like it's just Les Mis is really really great. I was expecting to like it because we'll talk about this for our next movie too. When something is so celebrated, there has to be something about it that is legitimately great, um,
Yeah.
or at least like there are points about it that are legitimately great. And Les Mis is just really great.
Yup.
Yeah. I wish I had more to
I,
say about
I
it, but like,
it's one of those movies like when I've seen a movie for the show before, I will put it on, listen to it while doing other things. I'm
yeah,
looking at you, Too Fast, Too Furious.
right. Or you're like
I
half
will,
paying attention and like it's like, all right, yeah, there's a car chase, there's a fight scene, all right.
yeah. Or there's like
Yeah,
one scene coming up that I love. Furious 7. Looking at the
right.
intro, must watch. Halfway through the movie, it's just like whatever.
Yeah.
Um, this is a movie that I thought, well, I like the song, so I'm going to put it on and then I'll see how it goes. And I put it on, I hit play, and then I didn't stand up for 3 hours.
I, it's so crazy. I was super riveted too. Like usually while I'm watching it, I'm like keeping an eye on the clock because it's like, all right, how much time do I have left? I should be making some notes at this point. Oh, I really like this song, but I sat there and I like put it on, and like an hour later, and I was like, that was a couple of songs. Like this is like 15 minutes in. And it's like an hour later. I was like, oh, okay.
Hmm.
Like yeah, this is. I'm all the way in apparently.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciated the movie. I think I appreciated it more having watched it again for this show.
Right. Yeah. I,
Really good.
It's so good. I wish there was something revelatory that we had to say here, but yes, Les Mis is good. That's a hot take.
Hmm.
All right, well, let's talk about our next musical slash movie slash stage play we're gonna watch. We're gonna watch 2020 ish Hamilton
Yes, the 2020
slash 2015.
showing of the 2016
Yeah,
version.
yeah. So we're gonna watch Hamilton, the Disney Plus release, and we'll be back next episode to talk about that.
Hmm.
Bye.
Boy, boy.